Thank you for staying tuned to Channels Television and welcome to Lunchtime Politics, where we'll unpack the biggest political and other related stories. I am Bukola Koka here in our global headquarters in Lagos. First, the top stories. A coalition of civil society groups calls on the president to show no mercy and give no breathing space to terrorists. FCT Minister Wike and APC National Secretary Bolaji Basiru engage in a war of words as the polity heats up ahead of 2027. And we begin with security. The leadership of the United World Congress of Diplomats, in collaboration with the International Institute of Experts on Political Economy, is asking President Bola Tinubu to sustain the ongoing onslaught against terrorists across the country in order to forestall any experience like the one witnessed in Venezuela. The group also asked the government to reassure the United States of its commitment to ending terrorism by appointing a military experienced official to support the defense minister.
We commend the United States military and indeed the Nigerian Ministry of Defense for this giant step and the victory recorded so far against terrorism, and we urge them to keep it up. However, there are still acts of terrorism being orchestrated against the people of Nigeria. The recent banditry attack at Gasuwa Danji in Niger State, where over 30 people were killed in a few days ago, has called for total concern and therefore called for cleansing of perceived trace of accused sponsors of Boko Haram from the government with specific focus on Ministry of Defense. We must guide against this Venezuela incident where a whole president of a country is taken in the custody of a full military actions by the United States of America. We don't want Nigeria to be treated in that manner, because if anything happens to Nigeria, it has also happened. You have already captured the whole continent. So we want Mr. President to learn from the lessons of the past, particularly the ongoing incident in Venezuela, so that Nigeria will not experience us. And we are calling Mr. President to take steps and make sure that he fish out those that are undermining his positive initiative, and make sure that the people that are actually hiding behind it, which have already been mentioned. When you pass an allegation against someone, you don't need to slip over it. So you make sure that you cleanse your government and let the citizen trust you.
The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Wike, has accused some political leaders in Rivers State of misleading Governor Simlai Fubara and reneging on agreements previously reached with President Bola Tinubu. Speaking at a rally in Ogubolo, Mr. Wike emphasized that the accord brokered at the presidential villa must be respected to maintain peace and political stability in the state. He also criticized the APC National Secretary, Mr. Ajibola Basiru, for what he described as undue interference in River State politics. In the meantime, the National Secretary of the All Progressives Congress, Dr. Ajibola Basiru, has asked the FCT Minister, Wike, to resign his appointment and focus on what he described as an obsession with River State politics. Mr. Basiru, in a statement, insists that all members of the APC National Working Committee must accord sitting governors due respect and recognize them as leaders of the party in their states. Mr. Basiru notes that it is incompatible for Mr. Wike to remain in the cabinet of an APC-led government while allegedly causing internal disarray within the party, insisting that he cannot be in the Federal Executive Council of the APC government and be causing confusion within an organ or structure of the party at any level, using the leverage of that same office. And as Mr. Wike continues to make the rounds as far as politics is concerned, with this back and forth between him and the APC's national secretary, some would say he has been flirting with the APC, and it's only a matter of time before Mr. Wike joins them. However, others insist he still has the PDP's best interests at heart. So which side of the divide, or if you like, what side do we believe? Joining us now to provide some perspective on this brewing subject in Rivers State and now at the national level is a former Attorney General of Edo State, Mr. Henry Idahagbon. He joins us now virtually on Lunchtime Politics. Good morning, Mr. Idahagbon. Thank you for coming on the program.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me.
And so we've set the tone already for you. Which sides do we believe? Does Minister Nyesom Wike still have the best interest of the PDP at heart? And is he working for the APC also, or for both sides?
Well, we can't deny the fact that Wike, as controversial as he is, remains one of the best performing ministers of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. I've had the privilege of living here for the past 5 years, and I can say that his interventions since he became minister, was appointed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has been revolutionary. And I think we should give him his credit for that. You may not like his politics, and if I were in his shoes, I probably would take a large chunk of the advice of Barrister Bashiru, the National Secretary of the APC, to leave the politics of Rivers State alone and concentrate on the very good job that he's doing in Abuja, in the FCT. Wike is de facto in APC, then de jure is in PDP. Some of us are praying and are hoping that very soon he will become both de facto and de jure member of the APC. Wike carries a lot of political goodwill that any party will need. He's a consummate fighter. There's no middle ground with Wike. He doesn't hide his feelings. And he's a fantastic political fighter that any political party would be happy to have. So I want to situate the current exchange between him and the national secretary of the party as a harmless exchange by two political giants. And we should not make a mountain out of a molehill from it. The advice from Bashiru is legitimate. You know, as of now, you are not yet a bona fide member of the APC. And since Fubara has become a bona fide member of the APC and is the governor of Rivers State, logically, he's the political leader of Rivers State. But let me also tell you that even governors are political leaders. And the Fubara knows that even whether Wike is in the PDP or is in APC, that Wike remains his own leader because governors are political leaders too. Governors are not the be-all and the apex of the political leadership in any state. Yes, they are the titular, they hold the titular leadership for political parties, but they themselves also have leaders.
Oh, really? So, are there two leaders of the party in Rivers State? Is it both Nyesom Wike that is a leader of, is it the APC now, and Fubara that is the leader of the APC? Are there two leaders of the APC in Rivers State?
No, there are not two leaders. In terms of the structure, the governor of a state is the political leader. But I tell you, and you can confirm this from any practicing politician, governors themselves are political leaders. They are people who are leaders to them. Because many governors are made by political leadership. So I have been in several political meetings where governors call people my leader, where they bow to people as their leader.
So why,
that is the truth. Officially,
why is former minister Nyesom Wike dragging the leadership of either party with his successor Fubara in Rivers State?
Yes, that is the point. I don't think he should drag it. Formally, structurally, Fubara is the #1 APC person in Rivers State. That is not contestable. But like I said, Fubara himself knows that he has leaders. There are people senior to him in the business of politicking. Fubara was an accountant general, permanent secretary under Wike, for goodness sake. So he knows that Wike is his leader. Wike was governor before him. So he knows that Wike is his own leader in Rivers State, but Wike should not contest it. It should not be a matter for formal contestation. Formally, in the APC structure, Fubara is the leader. But Wike, beside Wike, Fubara also had other people. For example, Celestino Meya, Dr. Peter Odili, they are leaders of Fubara in Rivers State. That is the way it goes. Formally, the governor is the leader, but the governor himself also has people who are senior to him and who are his leaders in the state.
Well, there are exceptions to the rule, and it appears as if there is one here, because in your own state, there is leader Adams Oshomole, who is a senator, and there is also Governor Monday Ukwevolo. It appears as if there are no stormy waters in Edo State. But we're focusing on River State, and there are quite a number
exactly.
of...
That is the point. I'm happy you brought the example of Edo State. The governor is the number one party, the number one person, APC in Edo State, the leader of the party in Edo State. But the governor gives due deference to Senator Oshomole as a former governor of the state. But that doesn't derogate from the fact that Okwevolo is the de facto and the jure leader of the party in Edo State.
Yeah, there are quite a number of things to make of, or questions to draw from the National Secretary's statement concerning Minister Nyesom Wike, one of which we should be looking closely at is what he says about the Minister Nyesom Wike allegedly causing internal disarray within the party, insisting that he cannot be in the Federal Executive Council of the APC government and be causing confusion with an organ or structure of the party at any level. Now, this is an APC chieftain acknowledging that he's causing disarray within the APC. And we know that the minister is of the PDP. He hasn't yet formally defected to the APC. Shall we say that this also confirms the allegations leveled repeatedly by members of the PDP that Minister Nyesom Wike is the one causing disaffection in the leadership structure of the PDP, and by extension, helping to swell the ranks of the APC through the defection of governors?
Well, one thing is clear. Mr. Nyesom Wike is an enigma. He's a political enigma. And it cannot be pigeonholed. Whatever role he's playing in the PDP is for PDP people to analyze. But for me, as one of the APC leaders from my state, I appreciate his contribution to the APC government by way of development in the FCT. I am very confident that come 2027 elections, due in the main to the developmental projects of Minister Wike, which is of course supported and provided for by President Tinubu, we will have very little difficulty in winning the FCT. I believe it's bringing a lot of people into the party, and that's what every
Mr. Dahagbon, yes, you've been clear about your praise for Minister Nyesom Wike's administrative prowess in managing the FCT. But we're not talking about the FCT here. We're talking about politics. And I'd like you to speak to the issues, because these matters are very related. The PDP crisis, which is, where the statement that he made yesterday is coming from in Rivers State, and of course, the submission of the National Secretary of the APC. I'd like you to respond to that. Does this also confirm that Minister Nyesom Wike, as alleged repeatedly by members of the PDP, is the one causing disarray in the PDP, as seen in the defection of governors?
Well, I'm afraid, because I'm not a member of the PDP and I do not know their internal workings and internal politics, I cannot say how Nyesom Wike's activities have been affecting the PDP. I can only speak of his activities in the APC. And for me, I agree with the advice of the National Secretary. And the advice of the National Secretary is clear. He should not engage in constant confusion about the leadership of the party in Rivers State. I agree with that. And that's why I said from the very beginning, he should concede the leadership of the party to Fubara, because Fubara is the governor, and Fubara is a bona fide member of the APC, which he isn't as of now.
let's speak to what you can speak to as a member of the APC. Shouldn't we also be calling out the APC leadership and the president for what Mr. Wike is telling us to be an agreement that should be respected, that all parties signed an accord to? So talk to us about the morality of this agreement in the light of the circumstances of what transpired in Rivers State between Simlai Fubara and Minister Wike. How moral is this agreement? And shouldn't we be asking Mr. President and the leadership of the APC to explain their role in this agreement?
You see, it's for every gentleman is bound to keep to any agreement that he or she willingly, submit to. But you and I are not privileged to this agreement. We do not know the content of this agreement. But whatever agreement has been reached before Mr. President, who is the leader of the country and the leader of the party in Nigeria, should be obeyed by both, by all parties concerned. There should be no argument about that. But the issue is, as far as I'm concerned, Wike should take the advice of Bashiru and solve the management of both the politics and governance of Rivers State. Let him allow Fubara to handle the affairs of Rivers State. Fubara, in turn, will recognize him as an apex leader, to him. But these are not to be formally argued. Unless and until we know the contents of the agreement, we cannot be talking about the morality of obeying it or not.
But like I said, Mr. Nyesom Wike did allude to the agreement in many veiled words that gave us a clear direction of what it would be, which is that he signed to not returning for a second term. And so isn't that tantamount to intimidation, knowing full well that Mr. Wike himself ran 2 terms as governor?
I agree with that. I don't think it behoves Wike to determine whether or not Fubara will run for a second term. That is for the people of Rivers State to determine. If he has worked well for the people of Rivers State and they want him for a second term, I don't think any leader should be in a position to stop him. So if Wike is arguing that Fubara is not entitled to a second term, I don't think that is in his purview to say so. It is for the people of Rivers State. These things are not allocated. They are done by way of an election. So if Fubara is doing well and he has the confidence of people of Rivers State to do a second term, then he should do a second term.
So if you admit, if you agree with that, do you admit that your party bullied Governor Fubara into signing that agreement?
No. The issue of bullying doesn't arise here. Like I said, the issue of bullying doesn't arise here. If he willingly signed an agreement, and like I said too, we do not have copies of the agreement if it was in writing. If it was not in writing, it was oral. You and I were not privy to the meeting where the agreement was held. But I am talking based on general principles that nobody should ask a governor or any elected political officer that not to run for a second term if his people that elected him ab initio wants him to run for a second term. This is election, it's about democracy. It's government of the people, by the people, and for the people. If the people want you for a second term, then you will get a second term. If the people don't want you, you can't impose yourself. That is what democracy, that is what elections are all about. Jonathan contested in this country, President Jonathan, he lost because the Nigerian people didn't vote for him for a second term. The sky didn't fall. In fact, he remains on record as the first president in Nigeria to willingly concede an election even before the formal processes are concluded. So, because Nigerians didn't vote for him for a second term, if Nigeria had voted for him, he would have been president a second term. So, I don't think any agreement should be signed that we exclude somebody's right to contest for a second term in office. That should be a decision for the people, and maybe to some extent to the party leadership. Because you can be good to the people, but if you are not good to the party leadership, then you may not get the platform again to run for a second term.
Well, we should be asking those questions of your party, especially as Governor Fubara seemingly stooped to conquer in order to retain his office as governor of Rivers State. But it appears as if the die is now cast in Rivers State. And this places yet another question mark on the management of the political crisis in Rivers State. One would have thought that since the lifting of the state of emergency and the return of democratic institutions, that stability would become the order of the day. So your party yet again how well did it manage the political crisis in Rivers State, if this is where we're back at?
Well, I can't see any instability yet. You may be saying instability. I can't see any instability. Governor Fubara is back in office. He's doing well. I'm sure he's in the process of appointing his cabinet members. What we are having now are just political exchanges, political banters, and it is normal. You know, it's a contestation for power, and it is normal for there to be exchanges such as we are having between Wike and Fubara, Wike and Bashiru. This does not amount to instability. The government of Rivers State is up and doing. They are meeting their obligations to the people, to their citizens. So there is no instability whatsoever yet. And as for my political party, the APC, there's nothing like mismanagement so far. Senator, the National Secretary has come to state the position. For now, Fubara is a bona fide member of the APC. He remains the leader of the party in the APC, and he will manage the affairs of the party in conjunction with the party leadership, with the state chairman of the party. He will continue to manage the affairs of the party. Whatever is happening between Fubara and Nyesom Wike, with due respect, is even on a personal level, because when Nyesom Wike, as pointed out by the secretary, is not yet a member of the APC. He's just serving as a cabinet member of the APC. This is not the first time it's happening, and it's not peculiar to Nigeria for a sitting president to appoint somebody outside of his political party to be part of government. President Tinubu used it to show his sense of inclusiveness, that this victory was not only for APC members, that is prepared to use Nigerians from any walk of life, from even other political parties, including the PDP, to deliver the goods to our people. And Wike is discharging that responsibility very well. And we must commend the President Tinubu for having the knack to spot the talent in Wike and bringing him on board to become Minister of FCT. So I can't see any instability.
We're going to have to redefine your definition, try to understand your definition of normal, because in Rivers State, as we speak, we have two factions of the APC, and even though Minister FCT is of, Minister Nyesom Wike of the FCT is of the PDP, we see the APC state chairman, one of the leaders of the APC state chairman, with him at that meeting yesterday in Rivers State in Ogubolo. There's also the back and forth between the State Assembly and the governor over presentation of nominees, over constitution of meetings that the governor allegedly said he's not, in conflict with certain members or certain legislators from Rivers State. And we see a back and forth also in the some left in the coffers of Rivers State after the lifting of the state of emergency. Is this normal bantering between politicians, especially after one whole year of political strife in Rivers State?
Honestly, in my own opinion, honestly, it is normal. Rivers State is a research-rich state. The figure you are talking about is 600 billion. Is 600 billion, I'm sure there are many African countries who don't even have that kind of resources. I don't know of any other state in this country that has 600 billion. In my own state, Edo State, we don't have access to that kind of money, even though my governor is doing wonders with the little resources available to him. So there is bound to be such exchanges, such political banter, such political intrigues in Rivers State. But I can assure you that the party leadership, our party leadership, they know when to intervene and to ensure that it doesn't go out of hand. That there may be two factions. Yes, some states, there are factions in some states. The president recently just set up a committee to resolve crises that may be pending in some states. I'm sure this Rivers State issue is something they can resolve. But one way of quickly resolving the Rivers State issue is for Minister Nyesom Wike to formally decamp from the PDP and come into the APC. You know, I believe that the PDP as it is already decimated throughout the length and breadth of this country. What is remaining there is just carcass, is skeleton. So it is time he should leave the skeleton and come to the APC, where he has been making some fundamental contributions this past 2.5 years and become a bona fide member. And I'm sure by the time he becomes a bona fide member of the APC, these banters between him and the National Secretary will no longer be there. And I'm sure he will be able to find a common ground between him and Fubara, where they can work. If we have to acknowledge that Fubara is the de facto and the jure leader of the party in Rivers State. And as a former governor, former minister, and present minister, Fubara, we also have to give him his own due respect as one of the political kingpins in Rivers State. And when there is this mutual respect between both men, there will be peace in Rivers State and there will be no talk of instability.
Well, just as an addendum, would it also be tried to have both men talk to us about the nature of this agreement, quote unquote, that led to a protracted political crisis in Rivers State? Would you also be asking your party to show example of accountability to that extent, to ask both men to be forthright about this agreement?
No, political agreements are not things you subject to accountability. It has nothing to do with finances. These are political agreements between something you come to the public, you come to channel television to come and talk about things that we will manage internally. And I can assure you that the party has the capacity, they have the human resources to manage these agreements internally. It's not something that will be ventilated in television programs such as this. And it's not something that you can call for accountability for.
Really? All right. That's a new one. We must thank you very much, and Anchor, at this point. It's been an interesting conversation. We're totally out of time, sir. I've been talking with the former Attorney General of Edo State, Mr. Henry Idahagbon, and APC chieftain. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on the program. And that's it on the program. Thank you so much for being there. You have been served today's edition of Lunchtime Politics. We'll be back again tomorrow. I am Bukola Koka. Bye for now.